On April 28 local time, Russian President Vladimir Putin made a significant announcement. A unilateral ceasefire would be implemented for 72 hours in the areas of the special military operation from the early morning of May 8 to midnight on May 11, coinciding with the 80th anniversary celebrations of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. This news sent shockwaves through the international community, sparking widespread attention and intense debate. It not only gripped the strategic nerves of Russia and Ukraine, but also introduced a pivotal and unpredictable element into the complex chessboard of great power politics. From the perspective of Russia's historical and cultural heritage and national sentiment, the victory day of the Great Patriotic War stands as a spiritual totem deeply ingrained in the Russian nation's DNA. In 1945, the Soviet military and civilians achieved victory in the anti-fascist war at the immense cost of 27 million lives. This triumph not only safeguarded national sovereignty, but also forged an indomitable spiritual monument for the Russian people. Every year on May 9th, Red Square becomes a stage where history and the present converge. As the melody of the sacred war resonates, veterans adorned with medals march slowly. The rumbling of T-30 for tanks harmonizes with the imposing presence of modern strategic missiles, and the fluttering red flags and victory banners carry the nation's collective historical memory. Announcing a ceasefire at such a symbolically charged moment not only highlights Russia's profound respect for historical commemorations aspiring to replace the clamor of guns with the notes of peace on this day, honoring their forebears' glory, but also showcases the strategic restraint exercised by Russian leaders amidst the conflict. This initiative acts as a shield amidst the war's smoke, offering a brief respite to frontline soldiers and providing an opportunity for the war-weary populations of both Russia and Ukraine to heal their wounds. It is worth noting that in recent years, Russia has continuously strengthened the commemorative significance of Victory Day through legislation, such as incorporating the Immortal Regiment Parade international-level celebrations. The decision to declare this ceasefire is thus the result of intertwining historical mission and contemporary responsibility. The international community's interpretations of this ceasefire decision are as diverse as they are indicative of the intricate geopolitical landscape. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres was quick to issue a statement, emphasizing that the ceasefire presented a historic opportunity to resolve the conflict through diplomatic means and calling on the international community to jointly promote the establishment of a trust-building measures mechanism. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees UNHCR seized the opportunity to urgently deploy aid to the conflict zone, aiming to alleviate the humanitarian crisis during this short-lived lull. In Europe, French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz both expressed their intentions to leverage the ceasefire to revive the Normandy format negotiations. These two countries, long-standing mediators in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, see this ceasefire as a potential breakthrough to end the protracted deadlock. In contrast, the United States adopted an ambiguous stance. While the White House spokesperson praised the ceasefire as a positive sign, they simultaneously stressed the need for NATO to continue monitoring Russia's military activities. This contradictory rhetoric reflects the United States' strategic calculus of maintaining a controlled conflict between Russia and Ukraine, reluctant to miss the opportunity to weaken Russia yet wary of the potential global ramifications if the conflict spirals out of control. In the realm of public opinion, some think tank experts have pointed out that similar wartime ceasefires in history often witnessed an escalation of intelligence warfare. For instance, during the period surrounding the signing of the Minsk agreements in 2015, both sides repositioned their forces under the cover of the ceasefire. Whether this ceasefire will truly lead to peace remains uncertain, and there are concerns about a repeat of the Minsk trap. An in-depth analysis of the military and strategic considerations of Russia and Ukraine reveals the complex game underlying this ceasefire. For Russia, the special military operation has revolved around three core objectives: ensuring the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, safeguarding the security buffer zone along Russia's western border, and reshaping its geopolitical influence in Eastern Europe. Although the Russian military maintains the upper hand in the Donbas region, the prolonged conflict has exerted significant pressure on Russia. According to data from the Russian Ministry of Economic Development, military spending accounted for 5.8% of GDP in 2024, and the country's fiscal revenue has declined sharply due to sanctions impeding energy exports. Declaring a ceasefire during Victory Day is both a response to domestic public opinion, with 78% of Russian citizens expressing a desire to avoid bloodshed on this commemorative day, and a meticulously planned strategic move. By demonstrating a peaceful gesture, Russia aims to gain international goodwill while also buying time for its military-industrial complex to upgrade its equipment. Ukraine, on the other hand, faces a more intricate situation, with the supply of Patriot air defense systems from the United States and Leopard 2 tanks from Germany. The combat capabilities of the Ukrainian military have improved, yet it still lags behind Russia in terms of air superiority and the quantity of heavy equipment. After Putin's ceasefire announcement, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky promptly convened a meeting of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief's office, where heated debates ensued. Hard-line military leaders advocated launching a spring offensive during the ceasefire, while the diplomatic team worried that such an action would lead to the loss of Western support. Notably, the Ukrainian military has secretly initiated the Fortress-2025 defense plan, intending to fortify the eastern defenses during the ceasefire and conduct drone reconnaissance of Russian military deployments. In the broader context of international geopolitics, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has long transcended the boundaries of a bilateral dispute, evolving into a crucial arena for great power competition. The continuous eastward expansion of NATO and Russia's pursuit of its sphere of influence have transformed this conflict into a proxy war in the strategic rivalry between the United States and Russia. The United States has provided over $60 billion in military aid to Ukraine through the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative and pushed its European allies to impose 10 rounds of sanctions on Russia. In response, Russia has countered Western pressure by suspending the Nord Stream 2 project and weaponizing its grain exports. This ceasefire decision has the potential to be a game changer in the current geopolitical deadlock. If the two sides can resume negotiations during the ceasefire and reach consensus on core issues such as the status of Crimea and the autonomy of the Donbas region, it could reshape the security architecture of Eastern Europe. Proposals like establishing a permanent neutral zone in Ukraine and creating a new gas corridor between Europe and Russia have already sparked discussions among think tanks. Conversely, if tensions escalate during the ceasefire and the conflict morphs into a proxy war 2.0, the global community will face even graver consequences. Fluctuations in energy prices could trigger industrial shutdowns in Europe. Disruptions to the food supply chain could exacerbate famine in Africa. And there is even a risk of an escalation in nuclear deterrence. Peace and development remain the themes of the era, yet the Russia-Ukraine conflict has displaced over 14 million refugees and shrunk Ukraine's economy by nearly 40%. Russia, too, grapples with the loss of scientific and technological talent and industrial hollowing out. The international community's call for peace has never been louder. Only through peaceful negotiations and the establishment of mutual trust mechanisms can the contradictions between Russia and Ukraine be fundamentally resolved. Russia's unilateral ceasefire, regardless of its ultimate impact on the peace process, serves as a wake-up call to the world. Conflict benefits no one, and dialogue is the only path forward. The world watches with bated breath, hoping that Russia and Ukraine can use this ceasefire as a starting point to take solid steps towards peace, allowing the light of peace to dispel the darkness of war. Achieving this goal requires not only the political wisdom of the two leaders, but also the international community's efforts to construct a new security framework that transcends geopolitical rivalries, preventing the recurrence of similar conflicts in the 21st century.